Welcome to On Your Own Terms. I'm Patti Talbot, and this is the place where we learn together what it takes to change the world on our own terms and in our own special way. Today, I have a special treat for you and for myself because I get to have a conversation with my dear friend Jeannine Rivers Colburn about how we met and all the wonderful learning and friendship that has come out of that very special meeting. So each of us are going to answer 4 questions today: how we met, what we've learned, where we are now, and where we hope to be going together in our very special friendship that started in such a very special and unique and challenging way. So I'm going to welcome Jeannine to join me in the show today so that together we can share with you the magic that can happen when we are brave enough to ask hard questions, even to strangers who may sometimes just turn out to be friends. Jeannine, welcome to the show. I'm so thrilled to have you with me for us to tell our audience about our auspicious beginnings.
How did we meet? We met during a time that was going on in the world that was difficult for everyone. We were in the middle of the Black Lives Matter movement. We are in the middle of racial tension that was going on in the world. And one day I came upon a post on social media that really struck me kind of hard. And it basically was regarding a class that Patti was going to teach on racial issues. And that really bothered me because I initially thought that this amazing woman who happened to be white was really going to have the courage to talk to everyone, even Black people, regarding racial issues. And my first thought was, who does she think she is? And what right does she have to teach a class on racial issues? So I was brave enough to send her an email, not knowing who she was or how she was going to react. And I basically asked her in so many words, how do you feel that you have the right to teach the world or your students about racial divide and how we can come together? And I made sure that I told her I come to you with love because I needed to really understand. Lo and behold, she contacted me, and she went a little bit farther than just sending me an email. She asked me for a Zoom meeting, and it really surprised me that she took the courage to come into a situation when she did not know how I was going to approach her and have a conversation with her and what my mind and attitude was going to be about. She asked to meet with me, and that alone was impressive. So we got together on Zoom and we talked, and that led to me joining a group of amazing women that live in Virginia, where she lives. And we have all formulated an amazing conversation where we teach each other about what we are experiencing in this America regarding race, history, the color of our skin, and what our backgrounds have brought to coming together. And I have found that we are really more alike than different.
So you've now heard Jeannine's version of how we met, and I want to tell you about it from my perspective, because what happened was really a turning point, I think, in my later years of this life that we're sharing. And I'm so fortunate for Jeannine to be a part of my story now, and I hope for the rest of my life. After I retired from Radford University, I was playing with this idea of change makers and really curious about what made these people called change makers different from just your ordinary folks. So I was doing a lot of research around this idea. What are change makers? Who are they? What makes them different from just the rest of us ordinary folks that just are going about our lives doing the best that we can? And I was doing this study, and I was also taking a course in how to teach online courses, because as many of you know, I've been an educator my entire career, and it's a role in the world that I value very deeply. So I was studying about how to offer online courses. And right about this time, as I began this course on how to teach online courses, George Floyd was murdered. Of course, like many around the world, and certainly in our nation, this event shook us to our core. It certainly wasn't the first time an African-American man, innocent, had been murdered on our streets, but it shook us at a whole new level. And as I was pondering this truth with so many others, I was thinking about myself as a change maker and wondering, who am I? Who do I think I am when this is happening on our streets and I have no idea what to do about it? So I decided to focus my course that I was building in this program on how to be an ally, how to show up as a person in the world in great anger and dismay about what was happening in our country to innocent African-American males just because they were African-American. It was disturbing me greatly. So I started trying to figure out what could I possibly do about it? So what came to me was offering a course for people like myself. I called the course Authentic Anti-Racism for the Well-Intentioned White Woman, because I am a white woman and I think I have good intentions, but sometimes I flounder around with what can I possibly do. Titled the course Tender and Brave, Authentic Anti-Racism for the Well-Intentioned White Woman. And I did what you do when you're marketing a course and inviting participants in your course. I put it out on social media. I started having phone calls with people who were interested in the course, all white women. But one day I got an email from a woman named Jeannine Rivers Colburn, came out of the blue, and she basically asked me the question, who are you? And what makes you qualified to teach this course? And it gave me pause. I had to step back and go, oh, I don't know. I'm just a well-intentioned white lady, just trying to figure out something that I could do that might be meaningful. And I built this course with, really great resources for people who were struggling to learn more about our true, real history and how we got ourselves in this mess in the first place, and how we could, as white women who've certainly been a part of the problem, could possibly become a part of the solution and certainly a voice for justice. So I got Jeannine's message and I responded to her, I hope not defensively, but definitely with a question in my mind, which is, this lady doesn't know me, but let's have a conversation. So I invited her to have a conversation and she responded, okay, I need to wait. I need to think about it a little bit and gather her thoughts, which is certainly a legitimate thing to do. It gave me a chance to gather my thoughts as well. And then after a week or so, she said, yes, let's have that conversation. So we got on Zoom. I'm in Blacksburg, Virginia. Jeannine is in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And we had a conversation. And the conversation was not at all what I expected. I think I felt like I was going to be a little bit on the defensive and defending my credentials and my intentions and all of that. But instead, what I found was this lovely person who was genuinely curious about my background and my intentions and what did I hope to do with the course. Through the course of our conversation, Jeannine actually shared with me that her own experience was somewhat separate from the African American community. So there was new learning for her as well. Over time, Jeannine actually joined our online community of well-intentioned white women, bringing her perspective as an African American woman, but an African American woman who people made presumptions about because she was an African American woman. People made presumptions about her experience and her background that were not accurate. And she made herself very vulnerable and open to talking about the gaps in her own experience and her own exposure to the history of suffering of African American people in this country. So she joined us, she contributed greatly to our course and our community. And over time, we got to be great online friends. But then about a year after this first conversation, I invited her to be a guest on my show and let me feature her work as a change maker. What I love about doing these interviews is it always gives me the opportunity to get to know a person much better just through the questions and the conversations and producing the show together. So we had that opportunity first. And then in the fall of 2021, Jeannine actually came to Blacksburg to meet me, to stay with me, and to meet the other well-intentioned white women that hung with the group. We had about 8 people in that course to start with, and there's a little core group of 4 or 5 of us that still get together regularly in the spirit of friendship, but also in the spirit of growth and learning as well-intentioned white ladies who are trying to figure out together how to show up and be allies for racial justice with the limits of our experience and with full awareness of the fact that we don't know what we don't know, and we need to be listening much more than we're talking and just showing up and doing what we're asked to do by our African American brothers and sisters, to show solidarity with them, to be vulnerable with them. Intentions aren't worth a lot if they're not followed up with action. By putting our intentions out there, I think we've made ourselves at least open to the conversations.
And here we are today, almost 3 years later, and we have become the best of friends. What have we learned? We have learned that no matter who you are, that when you have differences, that you can come together in love, that there doesn't have to be turmoil amongst different races, that you can come together, you can become friends, and you can learn to love one another.
I learned a great deal about myself. I'm proud to say that I welcomed that conversation with Jeannine and was able to tamp down my defensive side of me that, wasn't warranted in that situation and rarely is warranted, and instead step into my own curiosity and my openness to learning. And as a result, I've made one of the dearest friends of my entire life and a person with whom I can continue to be vulnerable and make plans together for how we can step into our better selves. And, you hear white people say, well, I've got a Black friend or I have Black friends, as if we get some kind of credibility from that. We certainly do not. But what I've gained in Jeannine is a person who will always tell me the truth and will always ask me the hard questions and always be willing with love to set me straight and give me perspective where I need it. Now, of course, she would never, as anyone can, say that she speaks for all Black people, but I do for sure know that I have a person that I can go to check my thinking, and a person who will love me in spite of my fumbling forward through this process. And I'm so grateful for that friendship in Jeannine. So I've learned a lot from that process. What magic happens when you open yourself up to the hard questions just might be a friendship, just might be the perspective that you need to keep yourself from always continuously being on your back foot with misinformation, disinformation, shallow information, shallow perspective. Because when we step into our changemaker selves, our best selves, then we approach the world with curiosity, genuine empathy, genuine love, and a genuine desire to grow as human beings. And so I'm grateful for that.
Where are we now? Best of friends. I have visited her in Virginia, and now she's here in Milwaukee visiting me. And it has just been a bond and a union filled with love. There's so many things that I have learned from her. There are so many ways that I have changed and became a stronger woman because of her. She supports me, she loves me, she's there for me, and she happens to be also my coach. Where are we going? We are change makers, and together we are coming together to create a change through our different and unique experiences that we have had in life. And we are looking at the world from different perspectives and bringing change. I'm bringing in inspired change from my experiences that I hone, that I know will help women. And she is creating change. She's a change educator, and she is coming to women and teaching them how to share their experiences in life and how they can create change among themselves.
At this time, I can thank Jeannine for making me aware of Win-Win Women. And that's where I get to show up week after week and produce a show about change makers. I never would have learned about this, I don't believe, if it had not been for Jeannine inviting me into this wonderful organization that's all about highlighting the voices and educating and inspiring and motivating and moving women to become the leaders that they're intended to be in the world. So I get to do this work alongside amazing women like Jeannine, and hopefully share some of what I have to offer in the world. But the best part is the community that comes with it as we cheer each other on as women trying to do our best and change the world on our own terms. Where I hope we're going next is many more opportunities for partnership and many more opportunities for learning, and me bringing Jeannine to share with my audience with her most powerful voice and perspective. And I hope to be able to do the same thing for her as we write together, as we teach together, as we speak together, and we share the journey of life, helping one another be the very best people that we can possibly be. I'm looking forward to what I believe is the truth, that we will be lifelong friends, all because Jeannine was willing to ask me a very hard and challenging question. And because I didn't shy away from it and run away in fear of being asked a question to which I did not have a good answer. I am indeed just a well-intentioned white lady showing up, hopefully, to do my learning and do my bit to make the world a better place by building bridges, opening my heart to friends who are willing to open their heart to me. Jeannine, thank you so much for being willing to have this conversation with me today. I love it when people ask this question, when I tell them that I'm going to meet my friend in Milwaukee, or my friend in Milwaukee is coming to see me, or that we talk several days a week. They'll say, "Oh, how did you meet?" And it's a story that I absolutely love to tell, because I think it's a story that certainly meant a lot in my life. And I hope it's an inspiration to other people to not be afraid to reach out and ask the hard questions. And when you're asked a hard question, not be afraid to face that question and grapple with it with the very best of intentions and an open heart, because together magic really can happen. Thank you for tuning in to On Your Own Terms with me today. I'm always grateful for this audience. I hope that you won't shy away from raising your hand and asking the hard questions by sending me an email at Patti, P-A-T-T-I, at blueroadseducation.org, and showing up whenever you can to hear the inspirational stories of change makers like you who are trying to change the world on their own terms. Each week, after our powerful interview with this change maker, we have a change maker chat. And the conversation is always where the magic happens. We're here every Friday at noon Eastern Time on Win Win Women TV. Please do go to blueroadseducation.org to find out about the programs we offer to cultivate change makers like you. We have change maker circles that are mastermind style groups for women who want to get together and think deeply about how to change the world on their own terms and how to build the skills inside themselves that all change makers have in common. We have a suite of courses geared to developing each one of those skills of change makers. And if you're curious about what those 16 skills are, please download my ebook, Change Maker You, How to Change the World on Your Own Terms, to learn more. I hope to see you along the changemaker journey. And in the meantime, may you be grounded in your beingness, guided in your doingness, generous in your connectedness, even if it means asking hard questions, and inspired in your reflectiveness so you can change the world on your own terms. I'm Patti Talbot. I'm always learning, and I know you are too.